So like with NLE Chopper, I don't know his background or anything like that, but that's the case with a lot of rappers, you feel me? They haven't necessarily experienced none of these things that they talking about. And that's, in a sense, their conflict, their interests, or that's always their downfall, because you always want to have a female or a family member or somebody, an old friend, that's going to expose you, especially if you ain't really lived that life. But one thing motherfuckers got to understand is what sells.
Right, exactly.
Just like how they say sex sells. Hood shit, drill shit, murder shit. You know what I mean? Everything everybody's into sells.
Right.
I can't rap about no shit that's not gonna sell.
Right, exactly, yeah.
A lot of these motherfuckers, like a lot of motherfuckers try to say about Pac. A lot of motherfuckers say Pac really wasn't like that. He wasn't no gangster. And if you look at his history, came from Baltimore, he had his hair dyed like how motherfuckers be having a top dyed and shit now. He had that then, he always had his nose ring and shit like that. He was dancing in the theater with fucking Jada Pinkett, you know what I'm saying? His foundation. Yeah, his mom and him was a Black Panther and all that, which, you know, he wasn't.
Right.
But all that extra super gangster shit, that image shit that we seen later from Pac, a lot of motherfuckers say that really wasn't him. Right. You feel me? But he had an image to portray. You know what I mean? He had a reputation to keep up. Now, I'm not saying that's my personal opinion of Pac, but, you know, that be the reality of it. You feel me? Like, because when Pac originated too, he was mostly talking about conscious shit. Right. With Digital Underground, you feel me? Then he started branching off, doing his own thing. Brenda's Got a Baby and shit like that, you know? And Brenda's Got a Baby and shit like that. You know, conscious shit, awareness shit, lifting people up, you know what I mean? Bringing awareness to certain things in our community.
Even later in his career, he was doing that still.
Yeah, at certain points, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if you notice, at that time, there was a quick shift and change in his direction after all that. And it was after he got locked up. Because I don't know all the details, I know a little bit, but from what they were saying, like, or what he was saying, some of his interviews and things, you know, nobody was there. He was calling out the motherfuckers. First of all, he was saying, like, the media, or I think that was the time when they said that, chick tried to say he raped her.
He raped her, yeah.
You know what I mean? But ironically, in the music industry, when you or in real life, you got other figures. Once you start whistleblowing, start talking about shit that's actually going on with our people. Right. You know what I'm saying? You start talking too much, bringing awareness to people, lifting people up. You're a problem. You're a risk, man. You feel me? He was literally on one of the FBI wanted lists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was. His mom was
just like his mom. Yeah.
Telling him like, yeah, you got a big X on your back.
You feel what I'm saying?
And now because of your music.
And then he got that rape shit that they was trying to get him for.
Right.
Now, you know, a lot of people talk about a lot of shit about the industry and all the shit going on behind closed doors. But he felt like they was trying to get him. And, you know, for that, you know, it's a lot of posts and like memes going on social media, and they like the shit that makes villains. It's like somebody getting a broke heart. Like, it's a whole bunch of videos going around like that, you know what I mean? Once again, it was shit that make villains, you feel me? That shit made him cold-hearted, you know what I mean? Whoever left him in there, whoever did that shit to him, whatever, you know what I mean? And ironically, the only motherfuckers that was there for him and actually helped bail him out, whoever the case may be, once again, I don't know all the details, was Suge Knight in them.
Right. And you know Suge Knight corrupted. Well, yeah, man, from the outside view.
Listen, man, go on forever about Suge.
Right.
But being at that moment and at that time, what type of time Suge and them was on and what they had going on, Pac couldn't come out and still be on some conscious shit. Like,
right.
Obviously, that's what made him a target, for one. And for two, motherfucking, I'm rolling with these niggas. I can't be talking about this.
Right.
And that's not what's selling right now. Gangster rap.
Yeah. I listen to some rappers that speak about consciousness and stuff. Like, you probably, I don't think you know his name. His name La Russell or La Russell.
I heard of him.
Yeah, like when I listen to him, like I don't know what it is. Like, you listen to people like him, J. Cole, and all that. They don't really get talked about as much. I feel as though J. Cole is recently kind of starting to get. He always had the numbers, but I'm talking about he's recently starting to kind of get talked about or praised as much as he should have been. But I feel as though conscious rappers, or speaking about situational stuff that's going on in life, don't really get the, the love that they should. There's a lot of people that I see. There's nothing wrong with listening to any music you like, because that's what you like. You get what I'm saying? That's what amuses your ears. But people don't understand. I don't know how big you are on spiritual effects, but like certain vibration and certain things. I mean,
listen. I kind of been avoiding this topic. I ain't want to talk about it, but it's ironic that you brought it up.
Yeah.
Because I've been in recent discussions about similar things. Mostly the Kanye shit, with him being canceled by Adidas, all this shit going on, and his anti-Semitic comments. Now, I could dive deep into that, but just speaking on the music, it's funny, and it's going to tie back into Kanye and into the shit he going through, the anti-Semitic comments and things like that, right? But the music industry, hip-hop, it started off as us creatively, wittingly telling our stories, our real life, our struggles. It wasn't more so a glorification of it. You know what I'm saying? It was about us talking about where we came from, our experiences, and our ways of navigating these struggles and coming out of it for those that did come out of it. But especially in the beginning, it was a celebration. You know what I'm saying? Like Sugar Hill Gang and them, you feel me?
Yeah.
Like, it was a celebration. They was partying, you feel me? Enjoying black life, enjoying, within our struggle, they were taking the good out of that, but still uplifting people. You could all go all the way back to the old music, jazz and all that shit, before R&B, the blues, all that shit, you feel me? They talked about our struggles, our story, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't exploitation or glorification of the shit we were doing or going through, you feel me? It was like a notice. Oh, y'all don't know, y'all don't care, this is what it is, this is what we going through.
Right. And
y'all gonna feel it, y'all gonna see it, y'all gonna hear it, and we gonna look good doing it. X, Y, and Z. Now getting to the like hip hop and rap and shit. Originally, and it's funny, I was just watching some shit about this, right? Originally when the shit started, like I said, it was more uplifting, you feel me? Right. Then you go back to the early 80s of hip hop, you have the Eric B and Rakims, you feel me? You got the Slick Ricks, you got Grand Nubian, you feel me? A Tribe Called, like all these other groups that were coming out on their conscious shit, and it was being promoted. That was the thing. Like, I recently watched an episode of Earn Your Leisure with Dapper Dan, and he was talking about how he was customizing pieces and things for some of these artists at the time based on what they, he was on some pan-African shit. Like, he was making some shit customized to what you rap about, what type of wave you was on, you feel me, what type of thing you was into. Eric B and Rakim, Eric B and Rakim, they was on some more so fly, 5%er, you feel me, building up the youth, doing service and shit. Right. Doing service and shit. Oh, out on it, alright. Doing service for the people and shit, you know what I mean? But that was a thing, that was a wave in hip hop when it first came out. It was uplifting, it was it was knowledgeable, you feel me? It was enlightening people, and it was looking out for each other, you feel me? It was no glorification of all the negative shit. Now, I bring that up to say, recently I saw a video where they was breaking down at a point in hip-hop, right?
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this. I believe it was Sony. Or no, Columbia Records. I believe Columbia Records did a study through Harvard. Columbia Records did some type of study through Harvard to see how they can take control of the music industry, or what they had to do, or some shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the study pretty much came back and said that in order for the powers to be to stay in power and control the music industry while still letting all these new up-and-coming artists have their deals and have their record labels and things like that, if you control distribution, you'll control the industry. Hence, a lot of artists start having their own record labels, their own like little personal deals with you know, whatever fucking endorsements and shit like that came with it, or royalties, or owning their catalog, or not owning their catalog. But in most cases, if you're signing with a major label, they weren't giving up distribution, which gives them, even if you stop rapping, as long as your shit is ever used or played or whatever, they will forever gain royalties off that. You know what I'm saying? And just the massive profits that's given off distribution. Whatever, right? That at that point, now you got record labels controlling the image that they're putting out. You see more gangster rap and shit coming out,
Right.
which once again was still our life story, our different stories and
Right.
shit that our people was going through. But now they're profiting off of it. They're exploiting it. Hence, all the way down to what the fuck is going down. What the fuck is going on now? It's an exploitation of it, and it's a glorification of it. Now, boom. A few months back, I saw this video. It's this white guy. He got like a podcast, a radio station, or some shit like that, right? And the clip of the video that I saw, he was already on stage. He's talking to a group of people in the audience. Now, most of the people in the audience are Caucasian. You know what I mean? There's a few other different ethnicities and races in the crowd, but it's majority Caucasian, and it's a Caucasian guy speaking. And it caught my ear because when it first came on, he was talking about Rick Ross. He was talking about how Rick Ross had that part in his song where it was like, put a Molly all in her drink, she ain't even know it. Now, when motherfuckers paid attention to that and pointed that out, he was getting canceled, and he was getting threatened of being canceled. He lost endorsements and things like that, and they were trying to get him locked up, and saying all this shit about Rick Ross. You feel what I'm saying? Because he said something like that, which I'm not justifying at all. You feel me? It was what it was. But the white guy, he was talking about this. He talking about the shit, and he like, it's wild, and mind you, he's Caucasian talking about this. He was like, it's wild that, you know, they'll lock Rick Ross up for that, you know what I'm saying? But the music that's promoted, everything you hear on the radio, everything that people are making millions and billions of dollars off of, it's about killing of other black people. It's about black people killing black people. It's about drugs. It's about the defecation of our people, our neighborhoods, all this shit, right? But that's what sells. That's what's on your radio. That's what everybody loves.
Right.
That's what these other cultures, Asians, Caucasians, and other cultures try to be like or imitate. That's okay. And once again, this is all the white guy breaking this down. That's okay. But can you go on there and talk about killing cops? Can you go on there and make a record? What if somebody made a record about killing cats and dogs?
Right. Oh, man.
It won't even be released. It won't even be publicized.
Right.
They'll fuck around and be locked up that day. What about raping kids, fucking kids? Can't nobody do it. Killing crackers. Can't nobody do it, right? But as long as you talking about killing niggas and niggas doing drugs and we fucking up our neighborhoods, it'll sell and you'll make millions off of it. They'll push it. It'll be at the top of the charts. Females calling themselves bitches. Right. Twerking and everything like that. Right. Now, once again, not to sound all preachy and shit, because once again, this is just us telling our story. This is the things that we do. This is how we live. This is how we enjoy our lives in its various ways, or our struggles, or how we made it out, how we made it to X, Y, Z point. But the powers that be, and some of us are too ignorant to understand that too much of it is being exploited. And for the most part, our stories, our pain, our traumas and things are being exploited. But we're not profiting off of it. And this ain't nothing new. You go back to old times, all these big name artists, if you go back to the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 40s, all these big artists back in the day, it was like Kanye said, it was a certain type of individual profiting, stealing from our people and our work, our creativity, the things that we were putting out.
There was a couple like I never even knew, I don't know how true this is, but they said a lot of Elvis Presley songs came from
Chuck Berry.
Right.
If you go back, a lot of shit, his style came from Chuck Berry.
Right.
One of my favorite movies, Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox. He's performing at his when he went back to the past, he's performing at his parents' high school dance or some shit, trying to make them still stay together or meet or, you know, become, so he can be born, whatever, you know, Back to the Future shit. But they show, it's funny because they show Michael J. Fox, he's from the future and he's performing a Chuck Berry song and doing the duck walk, which was founded by Chuck Berry. In the movie, they have one of the black performers there call his cousin. He's like, yo Chuck, you gotta listen to this new sound. Listen to it. And he put his phone out and have his cousin Chuck, which low key, which is the Easter egg, is Chuck Berry, listening to Michael J. Fox perform his own music, which is Chuck Berry music in the future, but he's from the future in the past performing it, and they saying that like that's where Chuck Berry got it from, which in the movie it's like subconsciously he's getting it from a white guy. But in realistically, actuality, in real life, motherfucking Elvis Presley fashioned his sound from Chuck Berry's sound. Some of his styles were from Chuck Berry. I actually even found a video. I think her name was, it was an old black folk singer, heavyset woman. Her name was Big Mama Thornton, if I'm not mistaken. One of Elvis Presley's most famous songs, Hound Dog. It was only a cover. It was a rendition of her song, a black woman's song. You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Yeah.
Him and his people took that, remastered it, redid it, changed some of the shit, and Elvis Presley profited off that song. Now don't get me wrong, he put some work into it, but it wasn't his body of work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Forever, he's remembered as that is his song, and it's not his song.
Right.
It was a cover, a rendition of one of our people's songs. But
Right.
too many times in history, going back to what Kanye pointed out, too many times in history, still now, where people of other cultures are profiting off of us and our work, and we're not being credited for it, and we're not profiting. Our children are not profiting off of it, and we're letting it go. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It was crazy because I think I was personally top 2 songs, top 2 or top 2. I can't help falling in love with you. That one.
Yeah.
And I was just looking because once this girl was on the phone with, she was telling me that's not even his song. I'm like, yes, it is. It says it right here. That's when I found out about him using other people's music. That broke my heart a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie, because I'm like, what if there's more now? A lot of people that I listen to, you know, like I don't care about ghostwriters. That's different. He's a part of your team. That's someone that's helping you. You get what I'm saying? But like for you to steal someone's work and then get remembered as this is your song, that's just wrong. That's just wrong.
Listen, I try to tell people, right? History ain't all of our story.
Right.
History is called his story for a reason.
Right.
It ain't our shit. Once again, another thing people got to understand is history and facts is only popular opinion. If enough people believe in it, it becomes fact. If the right motherfucker die, it becomes history.
Right.
Because once again, history is not told by those who lost the war. History is not told by those who died.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And all the time, the good guys don't win.
Most of the time. It's crazy you say that. You remember I told you I wanted to go watch Black Adam, right?
Yeah.
So, for him to activate as he activated, he was in the prison for like 5,000 years. So basically, he's 5,000 years much older than everyone that's alive now. So she released him by accident, blah, 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 blah. He goes straight to the statue. The statue was built of him, right? And it got the Black Adam symbol and everything. So she goes straight to that statue, and he goes straight to the statue, and she's going like, why are you just staring at yourself? Scenes later, in the middle of the movie, coming to find out that statue that looked just like him is actually his son. His son was the original Black Adam, but his son had gave him his powers because his son felt as though he would be more of a hero. But everyone that was alive, they knew that's Black Adam flying in the sky, but everyone alive was worshiping solely him. But the whole time, it was really his son that they were supposed to be worshiping. But that goes into a play of like, we don't have no one that can stay alive for 5,000 years to tell us the truth of what really happened. So, of course, they could just tell us whatever, and like you said, if more people agree than don't, they're going to label it as a fact.
Going back to some of the shit Kanye's talking about, and he's saying, and not to say that I agree with him, but we got to look at the facts and understand the facts. And once again, a lot of us is too ignorant to know the facts or too ignorant to find out the details. But who controls our media? Like, do your own research. Who controls our media? Who controls the information that your children get at school?
Right.
Who controls all the information that we get through the news outlets, through the motherfucking paper? Who created Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? Who runs Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? It ain't us. It ain't our people.
Right. Definitely not.
These schools ain't based off our curriculum. It ain't for our people. On the simplest note, right? And not to make this about race or nothing, right? Because color really shouldn't matter. Race shouldn't matter. Actually, they say race doesn't exist, and there's not all bad people on any color side, our side, their side, whatever. You feel me? Damn, I lost my train of thought. What was we talking about?
Well, I ended off the conversation about, no, you started about, you brought up about what Kanye was saying. Like, sometimes you gotta look at the facts of what he's saying.
Like, who controls the media and our information and shit like that? Like, it's not us. And, oh, I was saying, like, at its simplest form, think about a lot of the lotions or shampoos and shit. A lot of our people think about why we got dandruff or why we put on lotion, we still ashy.
It's not made for us.
It's not made for us. It's not made for our genetics. It wasn't tested on black people.
Right.
And even more so, if it wasn't tested on people at all, what kind of mice are they tested on? Not brown mice.
Right.
Everything mostly is tested on white mice, which still technically, genetically, they have no melanin in their skin, which why they have white fur. A lot of the products that we use are not based off our genetics. They're not for us. But we use them and wonder why they don't work. Or they harm us more.
Right.
But once again, we don't control our information. We don't control the information our children get. We don't control our food system. We don't control our water. We don't control anything. But what's inside our motherfucking house. In most cases anyway.
Right.
But even going back to history, a lot of the inventions that we use nowadays were created by slaves or melanated people.
And that's another thing. Like, what's dude's name? I don't want to say the wrong guy. Thomas Edison.
Edison. Electricity and shit. Light bulbs and shit.
Stole that. That was our work.
Man, listen.
That was our work right there.
Listen.
But he get remembered that he did that.
I'm gonna have an episode with my brother Cam, because we'll dive more into that. But once again, if you do your study, if you're doing your research, a lot of things were already founded in Egypt. A lot of these things that were in use, or these big name people have founded and used, a lot of them studied or researched or studied some of the works of Egypt. There's literally evidence, artifact, and statistical facts showing that some of these things were a battery, things like that. You feel me? Electricity, running water. Some of these things have already existed within realms of our people at different times in the past and in history, but they're not going to publicize that. They're not going to show that. You know what I'm saying?
And one question I had about Egypt is, someone had told me, it's another thing you just brought up, but it got tied from what I know. Someone told me that Egypt was ahead of their time with a lot of things. I'm not really sure on that. Mainly the thing I talk about Egypt is the pyramids. I was just confused on how humans built that.
Listen, they still don't know. They'll tell you everything from giants to aliens built it, rather than tell you melanated black people from Egypt. For one, they already talk about Egypt as if it's separate from Africa. It's in Africa. They talk about it or consider it as if it's separate from Africa. The inhabitants of Egypt are not the original inhabitants of Egypt. Hence why none of them look like the original sculptures and things like that. But going back to the pyramids to this day, with all the money, all the technology, mind you, we could go to the moon, we got all these robots, all this shit. They still cannot figure out or imitate the artistry, the motherfucking architecture of these fucking, what they call them, like world, I forgot what they call it. But they still can't imitate the architecture of it. They still can't explain how they were created and made and how they're still standing today.
Right, and that's one of the biggest conspiracies now. And it's like you said, some people said giants, some people said,
they'll tell you everything besides black people.
Right.
But I like to break it down to a smallest form, and not to say that it's the smallest form, but I like to look at it like this. Like today, nowadays, in this century, we got a lot of distractions, from social media to vehicles to technology. All types of technology is distractions, right? Now, Everything is 100% for the most part, right? Now let's look at our brain power. They say Einstein was a genius. They say Einstein used somewhere between 10 to 15% of his brain power, or what had the ability to, excuse me. Right? But he was a genius. So if Einstein at that time was able to use 10 to 15%,
I'm not saying as like building technology or anything like that. We could just talk solely about brain power. They probably used more brain power, and like you said about them writing in caves, I feel as though they knew that stuff like that was going to get passed down. They just thought it was going to be pure and people was going to keep talking about it. But nah,
there's different times. Right. Like, even back in the 50s and 60s, how motherfuckers, not even saying only way back then, it was more of a family structure. You had to sit down at the table and eat breakfast. You had to sit down at the table and eat dinner. We're going to discuss the day. We're going to discuss family shit. We're going to be a family. That's not really a thing no more. People eat their meals on the game or on the go or on the phone. They're on the phone while they're at the table. There's no more family discussion. And I say that to give an example. That's modernly, excuse me. Going back to those times, you know, that's how they passed on tradition. That's how they passed on stories. That's how they passed on history. Before there was writing and things, they talked. They conversed with their people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Their groups of individuals. And that's how stories and shit was passed down. By talking to each other through their language and things like that. Then later when pictures and writing and, you know, they found clay and things that they could write on these caves and things with, you know, depending on the culture, they use different things, you feel me? All this other shit came to light. So it's just deep, man. It's definitely deep.
Real deep. Sometimes it gets so deep it just start messing with you. That's how it was with me. Why? Because, you know, I got this one friend, I talk to her about all this type of stuff. We just talk about it. And sometimes we wonder if we ever going to find out the truth. Probably nowhere time soon. It really depends on your perception of it, though. What is your truth?
Listen, my brother. This shit get deeper than you know. Yeah, truth is like, I don't know, among many things it's vague. Like, what is truth?
Right, true. A truth could probably be a lie.
You know what I'm saying? And based on who's giving the information, you know, the truth can be swayed one way or another. But you gotta understand too, man, like, it's a lifelong process. It's too much information and misinformation out here. You know what I'm saying? There's no way of like finding the true truth or all of the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's too much information and misinformation out here. And living in the world we live in now, like, you literally would have to sacrifice your life. You have to dedicate your life. No fun, no nothing, like, to study, to research, to decipher the truth from bullshit, you know, facts from opinion, you know, find the things that were hidden or kept away from us. Like, it goes so deep, like, people couldn't even fathom. But that goes back to the saying, I was just telling somebody yesterday, I heard it young, the saying, ignorance is a bliss, ignorance is a bliss. But I never heard the full saying, like the full part to why is ignorance a bliss? After start gaining knowledge and gaining more knowledge and gaining knowledge of self, ignorance is a bliss because knowledge is a burden. And like you said, a lot of people don't know what to do with this information or some of the information they'll come across. Like, it's too deep.
Word.
People, us as humans, we're too conditioned, we're too used to being lied to, we're too used to being sugar-coated, you know what I'm saying? Hence, the other saying, truth hurts. People want the truth or say they want the truth, but do they really?
Right.
And then when it pertains to our history or your history, you know what I'm saying? It would drive some people fucking mad. Furthermore, the powers that be would lose control. They can't have that. So that's why certain things are in place. So you know only what you need to know. And you know it how they want you to know it. And you receive that information how you receive that information how they want you to receive it. You know, so some aspects are kept in control.
Right. You know, it's crazy. Like, I don't understand this, but like, you see, like the stuff we talking about now. For some reason, you put it on social media, so they'll flag you. And I'm not saying that's an all the time thing, but
it's just like if you drop a conscious album right now. You ain't gonna get on radio play.
Right.
What you talk about? Nobody wanna hear about Jesus or you uplifting the people. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, that shit cool. Even J. Cole and like Kendrick, they're not super preachy. They'll say some real shit and
right.
some hood shit with it. You know, some shit that's real relatable, and we fuck with these artists. But they not getting all the promotion as other drill rappers and gangster rappers and shit like that.
Right.
You're telling the people too much. You're uplifting them too much. You're making them too aware.
Yeah, it's like you said, they only want you to know what they want you to know.
We can't have that. But once again, like with the ignorance is bliss thing, because knowledge is a burden, I know individuals personally. I've seen people, in a sense, go crazy learning some of the things that we study, learning some of the things that's kept and hidden from us. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like, I don't know nobody personally that's like in a crazy house, but like derailed their whole lives. People are not the same based on the information that they found out. People are not the same because other people don't, it's people out here that really don't want to know or can't handle this information. It's people that out here that you'll try to argue with and try to, you know what I mean, make believe or try to inform them or even uplift them in some cases. We have too many cases of blind leading the blind, or too many chiefs and not enough Indians, you know what I'm saying? And once again, it's too much misinformation out here, especially nowadays with social media, platform, the internet, and all this shit. It's hard to differentiate between what's real and what's not, what's fact and what's opinion. You know what I'm saying? Or who's trying to scam you or swindle you. But, you know, once again, like I said in the beginning, we can't ignore the facts. The facts are there.
Right.
Certain individuals and what they rap about don't get certain promotion for a reason. And certain other shit does for a reason. And going back to the brainwave thing, it's another conversation we were in before. Like, it's a thing. It's a known thing. It's a known thing that, you know, music does something to us. We could be sitting right here regularly, put on a hard song, what we gonna start doing? Bopping our head or start moving our shoulders? It's something in us. It's something in music. It's something about the brainwaves. Of course, it's the beat and thing like that. But going into the music shit, right? Like in the hood, on some hood shit, when niggas about to bust a move or do a drill, they gotta listen to a certain kind of song to get in the mood.
Right.
And when people about to have sex. Hello. All right. How much?
$7.25.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too. People even... I'm on the truck. What you doing? People even got to listen to, you know, a certain kind of music in some cases to, you know, when they about to get into it, about to have sex or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Music does something to us and puts us in different kinds of moods based on the topic or what the music about or the rhythm and beat that goes with it. Now, once again, let's examine or observe most of the music that's popular, most of the music that everyone listens to, that's impacted or impacting the world. It's hip hop, it's drill, it's gangster rap, right?
Yeah.
And most of that shit is talking about what? All the various topics it's talking about, right?
Right.
So knowing how music affects people, or knowing that, you know, it does a certain thing to our brainwaves and makes us act a certain way in different situations, depending on individuals' personal control or lack thereof. You know, if we're promoting all gangster killing shit, doing drugs and shit like that, what it's gonna be? How we gonna act?
Right. That's basically gonna act what we promote.
Hence all the continuous crime and things that's going on in our neighborhoods and things. But if you go back, once again, like I said, when hip hop first started, all the uplifting, all the conscious shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When this shit was going on, there was more kids going to college. There's more people doing shit in their community, all types of things. There was positive things going on. And not to say it ain't now, but it's more promotion of negative things. It's more of those things going on. Hence more of our people dying younger and younger. And not to say that's the only reason, you feel what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that tie into it. But we're not gonna sit here and act like, the music definitely doesn't play a part. Once again, a lot of us is too naive or ignorant to realize it or notice it. And then it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because once again, these are our struggles, these are our realities. This is what we like, this is what we love, this is the music we create, this is what we used to. So a lot of us, this is what we was raised off of. And for a lot of us, no, it's not a glorification. You know, for a lot of rappers and entertainers, they're just actually telling their story, but you do have some out here glorifying it, you know what I'm saying? And which makes it worse. It's just a lot that tie into it.
But it's like, well, I'm on a game, right? And I argue with someone, and one of the first few lines they say, like, you know where I'm from, nigga? We do this and that. And I'd be like, okay. Like, I'm from Camden, right? But I'm not sitting here telling you where I'm from. Like, there was one guy I did tell him, because he was like, I'm from the Bird, or whatever like that. But after I told him where I'm from, I don't sit there and promote what goes on, because generally this is my home and we destroying ourselves, etc. But a lot of people don't think like that. A lot of people glorify it.
It's not only used as a glorification, it's used as a scare tactic. Because at a point in time, you say you was from Camden, niggas ain't fucking with you.
Right.
Now it's more so, yeah, you say you're from Camden, but you gotta be from a certain part of Camden. Right. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that's a good thing either, but a lot of people take pride in it. You know what I mean? Going back to what I was saying about the record industry, or certain rappers, a lot of them really ain't built for the shit they talk about. A lot of them ain't did the shit they talk about. So when they get in real situations around real people, you know, that pull their card or really checking for what they is, you exposed. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of people, like what the boy say to you, Oh, you know where I'm from?
Right, yeah, he's from Chicago. Like, I'm from Iraq. I'm like,
what that mean?
Right, you know?
Yeah, okay, yeah, it has a certain stereotype or stereotypical thing that come with it. What does that say about you as an individual? Yes, niggas out there getting killed. There's niggas out here getting killed.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's killers out there. That'll make you one of the killers.
That's what I'm saying.
What does that mean?
That always pissed me off when people do that. Like, when people say that in an argument, that make me get to another type of level of mad, because it's like, we're talking about, it's me and you arguing.
People can't stand on their own.
Right.
Motherfuckers can't stand on their own. They need a group, a gang, or some shit like that. Oh, I'm from here, I'm from there. That shit don't mean nothing, because at the end of the day, you was brought in this world motherfucking alone. You ain't coming with your city. You ain't coming in that state.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? You don't own that shit. And I just say that to motherfuckers on the block. Like, this your block. You own this.
Mm-hmm.
You don't own nothing. You don't rent nothing. Your mom don't own nothing. Your mom don't rent nothing on this block. How this your block?
Right.
But niggas want to die here. All these other cities, 100-something other cities in this state. This is one state out of 50-something states. This is one motherfucking country or continent out of 7 continents. Mm-hmm. And people want to die here. People want to die for a block that they don't own or own nothing on. Like, it's ridiculous.